You've been to 10 different job interviews and you haven't gotten a thing. You're wondering what's wrong. Let's talk about it. So here's the crazy thing. If you do not get that job, if you don't succeed at this job interview, or if you haven't already succeeded, what you're headed towards is not being able to provide for your family. You're going to be left struggling. If you're a mom or a dad, you're not going to be able to get things you want for your kids. You won't have the money to pay basic bills or start a business, chase after your dreams. Whatever it is you're going after, if you don't get that interview down, it's over. You want to know what's crazy? There was a study, a 1998 study from Santa Clara University. They studied 83 college students looking for their first job. What they found was that more than any other reasons, like GPA, um, where they were from, their preparedness, how they did in the interview, the number one thing that determined whether the students would get the job was how extroverted they were. And that's crazy because things are things are geared towards extroverts. You may have attended classes, you may have taken job interview skills workshops, and those are geared towards extroverts. But I want to show you all the way that you, as an introvert, after going through all those job interviews, I want to show you the way how you can win that next job interview. So, for an introvert to succeed at job interviewing, there are actually 6 steps that they must do. 6 steps. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So, this training is going to be pretty quick. We're going to be talking about the 6 steps for introverts to win at job interviewing. So, the first one, and you may see it right here. The first one is that introverts plan. So naturally, introverts are planners. Naturally, we're more observant. We sit back and watch first before we dive in. And in order to win at a job interview, it's going to take us preparing properly. We can't just go into the interview and think we're going to just get the job by going off the cuff, off the dome. That's more of an extroverted approach, which is fine. Both have their strengths, but introverts plan. That's the first thing. So you have to put a plan together about how you're going to approach the interview. There are different things you have to look up. For example, you have to check and see if the company is a good fit for you. You want to look at employee reviews, customer reviews, and other things like that. There's a lot of different things to look into, but that is all a part of planning. The next step is, think of it as introverts planning, but a little bit more in depth. So you decided to actually go to this job interview. You've planned it out, how you're going to approach it. The next step is introverts research. So researching is a huge, huge help for us because, again, we're not ones to rush in and just sit down, do the interview, and get out of there. No, 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 no. We as introverts, we need to look at the information, look at the facts of the matter, look at the truth, and we need to do it in a deep way. We need to do some in-depth research on the company, what they stand for, how is the best way to approach this interview, who's interviewing us. That's going to be important. All of these things are extremely strong things that affect the outcome of you getting that job interview, of you getting that job if you're an introvert. And another thing we want to look at is, after we've done the planning, we've done some deep research. The next thing we're going to look at is the next step, which is that introverts show up. Did you know that you can actually arrive to a job interview too early? If you're an introvert, you're probably super prepared. Not all of us are, but you're probably a little bit more prepared than a lot of people, than most. Okay. And you may be getting to the job interview an hour early. You may be used to getting places 30 minutes early. You may get there right before. I don't know. But there is such thing as getting there too early. So how you show up to an interview is important. We don't want to be late, but we don't want to show up super early either. In fact, anything over 15 minutes is considered unprofessional. So we want to avoid doing that. The next step down on the bottom row down here is that introverts engage. Did you know that there are generally four styles of interviewer, four different types of interviewer, and they all have to be engaged differently? I always teach in my workshops, my trainings like this one, that connection is more important than interviewing. Connection is more important than interviewing. You're going to have to connect with the person in front of you, or there could be multiple interviewers and they could have completely different personality types or behavior styles. So there are four types of interviewers. You have your finishers, your connectors, your supporters, and your analyzers. There are four different kinds and they all require different ways to engage. So that's something you're going to want to know how to do. With a finisher, just a quick run through. With a finisher, you want to make sure and stick to the point, get things done, know your stuff. With a connector, you're going to want to connect with them. For a supporter, you're going to want to give them the opportunity to support you. And then for the analyzer, you're going to want to have those details ready, those stats, those facts. So we're going to talk about that more in depth. There's also something that you're going to need to know how to do. And as introverts, we hate this, but small talk. You have to know how to do small talk. Even if you're not naturally one to enjoy it, it's probably going to happen at an interview in some form. In some form. So it's important in order to get that connection, which again is much more important than interviewing. You're going to interview well, but it's also extremely important, even more so than interviewing well, to be able to engage and connect with that interviewer. So you want to make sure that you are prepared to engage the four different types of interviewers, as well as small talk if it happens. The next step, or the fifth step, and again, we're talking about the 6 steps for introverts to win at job interviewing. The next step is that introverts finish strong. This is where a lot of people mess up, extroverts and introverts, but especially we as introverts, we've probably prepared. I've done it. I prepared in the past for an interview. I never prepared how to finish the interview properly until I actually learned how. I didn't know how to finish an interview, a job interview. So we're going to have to remember that just as important as it is to show up correctly, it's important to finish strong. So that's going to involve making sure that you end appropriately, making sure that you ask the right questions and things of that nature. And then the final step for introverts to win at job interviewing, you all, the final step, and let me zoom out of this a little bit more. The final step is that after that interview, you're going to need to follow up. Now, this part is actually, it comes easier for we as introverts because we do it in a way, or we can learn to do it in a way that's best made for us. So that's why following up is something that we'll be able to do that a little more naturally than just walking into a job interview and winning it, succeeding and getting that job, so that you can change your life, change your family's life, go on the vacations you want, start the business you want, whatever that may be that you're going after by getting that job. You have to know how to do these 6 steps and what to do during each step. What's crazy is, you all, I remember that I would interview. There was one job that I interviewed for 7 different times or 6 different times, didn't get it. And what's crazy is I've never gotten a job. I've never gotten a job if I did not do some type of coaching or training or take some type of course about job interviewing before I did the interview. Never. Always, always, always went right back to where I was. I wouldn't get the job. They pick someone else. And I wondered, was it me? Well, it was me, but it was because I didn't have the tools as an introvert to win at job interviewing. I didn't know what to do and how to cater that process to the job interview that I was doing. And so after failing so many times and finally learning, okay, I need to find out what works best for me or someone like me, I began to have a 100% success rate, but only after I received coaching or training of some sort. Only after I received some type of help, such as a course, a class, a some coaching. That's when I would start to succeed. That's when I finally started to see success. I actually got again, 100% job attainment rate when I did that, when I got coaching. So the key here, you all, is this is not the end. If you found this helpful, you want to know more, we're actually having a free masterclass June 19th. June 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sign up link, well, it depends on where you're watching this. If you're watching this on Instagram, it's going to be in my bio. If you're watching this on YouTube, then it's going to be in the description, the sign up link. It is a free job interview for introverts masterclass. We're going to talk about these skills much more in depth, much more in depth. And again, did I mention it's free? You're not going to have to pay anything. Take this class. And I'm not saying take it because I just want you to come to the class. I do want you to come, but I want you to, as an introvert, be able to achieve the things you want to achieve. Take care of your family, pay for your house, go on vacations, put your kids in private school, take care of your dog, take them to the vet. I don't care. I'm just making up stuff. But literally, find out what it takes for you to win at job interviewing. All right. And if you are watching this on Facebook, then the link will be in my bio. And I'll also put it on the post as well. So you all, again, we talked about the 6 steps for introverts to win at job interviewing. We may have taken classes before on job interviewing, but they were made for extroverts. Those classes were typically for extroverts because we live in a society, especially in the United States, that caters more so to extroverts. So these 6 steps are how you can win as an introverted person. And again, sign up for our masterclass. Sign up for the masterclass. It's free and it's at 1 on June 19th. And the 6 steps for introverts to win, again, as a recap, are introverts plan, introverts research, introverts show up, introverts engage, introverts finish strong, and introverts follow up. Again, this is Jay Bryan. I appreciate you all's time today. Y'all have a great one. Peace.